Hi, I'm Craig from BuckeyeSurf and Snow, and I'd like to talk to you about Wakesurfs. A lot of people come into our store and they may have seen someone do it on the lake and they're not really sure what it is. The best way I can describe it is it's just like surfing on the ocean, but you're doing it behind your inboard boat. You're doing it at about roughly around 10 miles an hour and just really slow with the boat just on plane. And you start off with a rope that's about 20 feet long and you pull yourself in towards to get in the right spot on the wake. So that's usually about 15 feet from the boat, and then you can just surf on the wake there. There's kind of, I guess you would call it a sweet spot, and that's about where that is. When you get more experience, you can ride back a little farther forward, closer to the boat, carve on the wake, and do all kinds of different stuff. Okay, so this is really going to help you if you're choosing your first wake surfer. Maybe you've done it before and you're looking to get your own, get a little more into it. So there's 3 different constructions and boards that you're going to be looking at. This board here is a compression molded board. It's made really similar to all the wake boards out there. It's really thick fiberglass with a foam core. It does the job for most beginners and intermediate riders. It's a really durable board, so when you're trying to find that spot, sometimes you kind of ride a little far forward and you might bump into the platform, so that's going to be able to handle that without getting damaged too bad. Also, just in the board racks or on the dock or something, it's going to be a lot more durable that way. And the cost with these boards is also like relatively inexpensive. It's a good way to get into it. Then on the opposite side of things, this is a pretty high-end board here. This is a surf style construction that's made with a lightweight foam and a thin layer of fiberglass or epoxy resin on the outside. Something like that is very buoyant, but it's also fragile, so if you have everyone using the board all the time, it might get a little dinged up. So that's maybe more of a board that you would buy just for yourself or a limited number of friends, I guess, that maybe have a little experience. This board here is kind of a mix between the two. It has the high quality foam that this one does, but the fiberglass is a little thicker, so it can take a little more abuse. Okay, so for most people getting into the sport, like I said, we kind of recommend this just because the price is good and it's really durable. There's now another thing to consider is the size of the board. There's kind of some different things to consider there. If a lot of people are using it, you would like a really big board because a big board is easy to ride and it can kind of accommodate a lot of different sizes of people. If you're just buying it for yourself, or if maybe your group of people is smaller, maybe like the 180-pound range and under, then you'd be pretty good with a small board. When you consider the sizes of boards, a pretty good range is from 4.6 to 5.6. There's the odd one that's bigger or smaller than that, but those are your main boards. You're pretty safe with something in the middle around the 5 foot, 5.3 range. That's kind of your average size board, I guess. If you want something that's super easy that can accommodate someone that's up to like 240 or something, then you'd probably want to go with like a 5.6. And on the other side of things, if you have someone that's really small in your group, they'll find a really big board is just going to be really easy, and if they start getting into tricks, it might be not quite as maneuverable for them, but they'll still definitely be able to ride it. So that would be why a big board is a lot more popular, at least for the first time purchase of a wake surf. So when choosing a board, you should also consider the shape of the board. There's 2 main styles that I'll talk about. This board here has a fishtail to it. That design kind of makes the board ride a little faster. Usually on your entry-level boards, it'll be designed like that. It just makes the sweet spot on the wake that much easier to find. There's also high-end boards that are designed like that too, that are kind of for a different idea. It's for getting speed, carving off the wake, and maybe jumping it a little bit. But this really just makes it faster or easier to ride in this case. Now there's also a skim style board. I have one here. It's got rounded tip and tail, so that's going to be something that's maybe a little bit harder to ride depending on the board, and it's kind of designed so that you can do 180s, 360s, kind of learn some tricks on it, meant for riding switch a little bit. Okay, so based on everything that we've talked about, all the different features of the boards, and what's best suited for you, I would recommend going with a compression molded board if you are more of a beginner, mainly because of cost savings, but also durability. Your first board should be something that's really durable before you look to the next step, to something that maybe performs a little better but also lacks the durability. Okay, so based on everything we've talked about, the best board for a beginner or even kind of an intermediate level rider is your compression molded board. If you're a straight beginner and want the easiest thing to ride, I would suggest the fish style board with that tail. If you've done it before or you think you're going to progress really quickly, you might want to go still compression molded, but maybe something with a rounded tail like this. That'll allow you to do some 180s. You know, that would probably be your first trick to do on a wake surf. All of the major manufacturers make each style of board. They're all going to make something that's compression molded, surf construction, so brand isn't really as important in this case as the style of the board. I hope this has helped you with your board selection. Have a great time out there wake surfing. This is Craig Poole from BuckeyeSurf and Snow.